The key takeaway is everybody's kind of missing this, but some people are doing it. I see on LinkedIn, is to do an EAT audit on your brand, your website, an EEAT audit. If you look it up in Google, you'll find various ways of doing it. But I would suggest that everybody right now, because this is the new algorithm that came out in 2022, to audit using EAT for all of your content. Ask it, is it doing the expertise? Is it got the right experience, meaning reviews, conversations, different things? Does it have authoritativeness? And does it have trust, engagement on the content? I'm Joseph S. Kahn, and this is SEO in 2026.
Joseph, what's your number one SEO tip for 2026?
My number one SEO tip is to look beyond the blue links and to build for AI.
Look beyond the blue links. So are we talking about blue links just in Google?
We're talking about blue links everywhere, meaning most people are backlinks, backlinks. The old world of SEO is just backlinks to build authority, backlinks to build authority, and that actually isn't the way to build authority anymore.
Okay, so links don't matter anymore, or is that going a bit too far?
Links do matter, but it's very specialty, okay? It's very specialty, but I can beat just about anybody in the service business and a lot of different places in SEO without using a single backlink strategy.
Okay. So maybe we can get a little bit more of a taster in terms of how you go about doing that.
Now, a lot of people consider backlinks to be something in a directory or something in a citation. And I'm actually talking about that more so than getting PBN backlinks or getting cited guest posting, or the normal people, they're looking to get the backlinks or just the links itself. But in reality, what matters now to the LLMs and the AI searches and even Google generative search is where that backlink appears. And meaning, is there automatic EAT built into it? Is there automatic trust and authority built into it? And that's why a citation, say in Yellow Pages or in Yelp or whatever, is different than, say, a backlink on a guest post. So if you do a big backlink strategy, I know people, probably a lot of SEOs here are going to get mad at me, but if you do a lot of backlink, but if you get a few or two or three different citations in authoritative based locations, that will beat any backlink strategy, because Google now considers where it comes from, where it's mentioned. And I also want to say that now more than ever, brand mentions don't have to be linked. The brand mention itself now goes into that LLM database along with where it's mentioned, along with where they were talking about your company. So it's not about backlinks anymore. It's about being found as an influencer in the right space and the right targets and the right areas of Google. And that could be even social media properties as well. So kind of a lot of stuff has changed there.
I like your phrase automatic EAT built into it. How do you go about doing that?
Well, so the EAT is the new algorithm. As you know, Google came out with this in December of 2022. And guess what came out in November of 2022? ChatGPT. So Google's EAT was actually built a month after ChatGPT came out to the marketplace, because they go, oh, this is the future. This is where search is going to happen in the future. So we can't do it with Panda, with BERT, with all these different algorithms that's based on preventing scamming or spamming. Google was all about fighting spammers and scammers and people replicating content. When AI came out, everybody wanted to just, now I could duplicate 1,000 different articles, meaning that whole spam thing. But so Google said, how are we going to defeat that spam monster when AI is going to now be creating everything before this takes place, before this traction takes place? And that's where Google EAT came to play. And a lot of people, they have EAT, which is expertise, authoritative, trust. Then they added an extra E, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And a lot of people add some other stuff to it as we're figuring out this new algorithm. But the main point is that it's no longer about, say, backlinks in this algorithm. It's about being authoritative. Okay, so the A part is where I'm centering in on this tip. Authoritative. And authoritative for our clients and how we're doing it right now is actually taking that content or taking your expertise and multi-modaling it now. I don't know if that's a word, multi-modal, meaning we want to make sure that we have that same authority, that same thing, that same mention on YouTube on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on your blog, on your webpage, on an article coming out about you, on the directory, everywhere you can think of. That's the A part in Google Eat. Okay. Some people think backlinks used to be domain authority. Now it's, where are you at? If Google's going to have you in the LLM, or if ChatGPT or Perplexity or any of these other tools are going to have you show up in the LLM, you've got to be authoritative. What does that mean? You're not just found on one single web page with a bunch of backlinks. You're also found on YouTube. You're also found on LinkedIn. You have content, articles, and things that may not have backlinks, but have mentions, have you talking about it, and that also goes into the database. So literally the authoritative in our framework, and it's getting harder. Back when this first came out, you really needed only 25 to 35 different pieces of work to be authoritative. Now it's 50 plus. Meaning if you want to show up for being a keyword, in the LLMs and you're the keyword guru or whatever, you need 50 plus items mentioning you, your resource, the topic attached to you, etc., to be authoritative now. So it's a little bit harder, but it can be planned out. It can be designed out, and it's not about backlinks. It's about providing value in that space on the topic.
And you're sharing how to be authoritative, but I guess trust is also closely linked to that as well, because thinking of your example that you were sharing earlier on about simply having a citation in somewhere like Yellow Pages, Yellow Pages would have to trust that you are the brand, because obviously there can be many brands with the same name, so they have to trust and be confident that you are the brand in that particular sector. So how do you go about building that trust with authoritative directories like Yellow Pages?
It's effort. Everybody wants to do the easy thing and appear in everything where they can have an AI fill it out. But see, the reason why Yelp matters, your point is exactly the point. Why does Yelp get the trust? Why does Yellow Pages get the trust? Because you can't just send an AI bot to fill that out and it be accepted and agreed upon. You literally have to make a phone call and talk to somebody on the phone and to actually verify your identity and things like that. That's why that matters more than a backlink or even 100 backlinks, because it was verified by phone verification. It was verified, even the YouTube channels. If you want to get certain capabilities in YouTube channels, you got to be verified by your identity, meaning you can't just be a no name, nobody, and just spam and win anymore. So the harder it is to get, as backlinks back in the future, but the harder the citation is, meaning it takes effort, a phone call, submit your driver's license or whatever to get verified. That's going to matter more. That's going to have that built-in trust.
And you also use the word to be certain there as well. And in order for AI search engines to be more certain that you are the brand that is being referred to, do you simply link to your Yellow Pages listing, to use that example, or other properties online to demonstrate that you're the brand that you're referring to?
Yeah, and Google crawls those. And the trust, you mentioned trust, and I believe there's another E to engagement, just EATF engagement. But engagement is a part of the trust equation, and that's if you're on all these authoritative spots. Hopefully, there's conversation taking place. There's likes, or there's questions, or there's whatever, and just like Google reviews. If you, the owner, are responding in a timely manner to any reviews, it doesn't have to be negative. You just have to be responding. That's the E. That's the engagement part, or the trust part. Meaning, are you engaging with the content? Are you responding? Are you answering the questions? It's not just about peppering it in and peppering it in and peppering it in. It's about the conversation now than it is just about being how do they say that? Instead of being a megaphone now, you're actually being a CB radio. You're a two-way conversation. You're not just a one-to-many blast out, blast out, blast out. The engagement part and the trust part is now you saying, here's how to help. Here's how I can fix this. Here's more content. Here's extra stuff. That's that trust part. That's the T part.
So if it's not so much about the blue links anymore, it's more about your brand, does that mean that it's about the brand where the user happens to be, and it doesn't matter so much that the user doesn't end up on your website?
It's all about the topic. Okay, so the intent and the topic, how Google classifies things as buyer's intent, the knowledge intent, et cetera, et cetera. we're no longer going to be kind of showing up as regular marketers for informational intent queries unless we're the only one with that information. Generative AI and Google and everybody, they're going to answer those questions. They're not going to send you a blog anymore. They're not going to send to how to feed your cat. You're not going to rank for that. ChatGPT is never going to send that to a regular blogger. But if they're crawling and you have more information about cats and about that topic, it's about the topic and you have the authority on that topic, meaning you have more than 50 works that's in the index on that topic. When you ask how to take care of a cat, it's going to say, oh, well, we got all these resources from this guy who knows how to take care of a cat, including some of these other how-to information. And that's going to pump you in as a resource, as a citation in any of the LLM searches and the new Google searches. The new Google searches has a new SERP. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you search at the top and you click on any of those links, there's a new SERP that comes up over on the right-hand side with different results than what's on the bottom.
Do you mean AI mode or something else?
Yeah. In AI mode on Google. There's the new SERP that fades out is based on the directories and citations in that answer that Google provides, not what's found below in the organic. So there's kind of two different models right now.
Okay, so to stick with the how to feed your cat example, and maybe you're a business that sells cat food, and you relied upon traffic to your blog in order to actually make people aware of the fact that you actually sell cat food. If you now just have consumers consuming your content on ChatGPT or other AI search engines, how do you measure the value of that, of people discovering your brand through that and perhaps eventually making their way back to your website?
Yeah, so I mean, you got to do the research up front and kind of find out where all the cat owners are looking for this information. And that's where you need to be posting all of your different multi-modal different things, your videos, your blogs, meaning you gotta hone in and find where they are, where the traffic is, where the people are, where they're, if they're on LinkedIn or wherever they're at. Their groups, because groups is a great place to come in, and especially public groups, because those public groups get crawled, and feed that in. So you've got to understand where they're at and then create multiple modes of content around how to feed your cat properly, like a YouTube video, an Instagram feed, or an Instagram reel, even a Facebook post, different things like that, in addition to your blog entry. And then your blog post that's on your website points to your YouTube video, points to your Facebook page. You send an email campaign out to your list about it that's got these links in it as well. That also, that Gmail traffic, that email traffic also drives that kind of trust or that authoritative score as well. How many people are looking and clicking and going to that particular piece of information? So if you're posting in a Facebook group, people are clicking on that link and going to that resource. That counts, meaning that traffic, that counts as you being authoritative and engaged in with that content.
And for multimodal content, just to clarify, you're not talking about just writing the one blog post and then writing maybe a snippet of the blog post and linking back to that blog post on different platforms. You're talking about creating content that's unique and relevant and hyper appropriate.
And that's a great way to use AI. So meaning you can take your video, shoot the video, pull the transcript down, use Claude or use AI that's kind of trained on you, trained on your voice. Make sure that it's trained on you. It's not just out of the box, generic or vanilla AI. It's trained on you, your voice, who you are, your expertise, etc. Then you take that piece of content that you shot, like say this video, and then you take the video and you don't replicate the same thing across. That's old school, meaning they go, I'm going to post the blog here and do this and then transcribe the blog and it's the same content across. No, you want to take the same topic and share it in a different way, answering all of the questions related to that particular thing. Meaning you would need to brainstorm what are all the questions people are going to ask ChatGPT and make sure that's included in that video. Once you take that video, you're going to take the transcript down now to whatever AI tool you're using. ChatGPT 5 is fine. And once you have the transcript there, now you say, help me create a Facebook post, help me create a LinkedIn video, help me create a blog post, help me, meaning it's going to take the transcript and then you're going to create a new piece of content that's basically identical, but using the platform and kind of what's good and helpful on that platform and making it relevant for that platform. Because a Facebook post looks different than a LinkedIn post, looks different than Twitter, Instagram, you'd want to do a card with a picture. but you're taking the same content and you're saying, how can I describe this in different ways across platform?
How do you do research to determine that the phraseology that you use within that video, the questions that you try to answer in that video, is hyper relevant to the type of question that people may be typing into ChatGPT?
Would you believe I asked ChatGPT that exact question you just asked me? Really, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take maybe 5 or so main communities or resources around the niche. Okay, 5 or so main communities. I'm going to feed that to ChatGPT. I'm going to say, here are the top communities, public communities, whatever it is around the topic, say pet foods or whatever. I'm going to feed that to ChatGPT. I'm going to say, study all the conversations, study all the questions, study everything that these people are doing in these public communities, public blogs, whatever it is. I'm gonna first say, ChatGPT, show me and tell me all the public blogs for the pet food, or show me all the public communities for pet food. Then I'm gonna take those URLs. I'm gonna say, now pull out what are the potential questions, the concerns, the topics, the issues that these people may have around pet food. And then I'm gonna let it crawl the community to then give me all the juicy bits that I would use, if that makes sense. And that community, guess what, is in the index. So if now you're creating the answers and the content and everything that's related to all of those communities, Google's that's gonna go in there. That's gonna be crawled, and that's gonna be pulled from the perspective that you're answering all the questions in these top 5 communities in your content. And that content, if you multimodal across, is gonna go, okay, this guy knows everything about this particular industry. And AI is gonna just make that easy for me. I could have it done this afternoon.
Joseph, what's the key takeaway from the tip you shared today?
The key takeaway is everybody's kind of missing this, but some people are doing it, I see on LinkedIn, is to do an EAT audit on your brand, your website, an EEAT audit. If you look it up in Google, you'll find various ways of doing it. But I would suggest that everybody right now, because this is the new algorithm that came out in 2022, to audit using EAT for all of your content. Ask it, is it doing the expertise? Is it got the right experience, meaning reviews, conversations, different things? Does it have authoritativeness? And does it have trust, engagement on the content?
Joseph Kahn is president of HumJam. Find out more over at humjam.com. Joseph, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2026.
Thank you. It was awesome.
I've been your host, David Bain. Get your copy of SEO in 2026, the book, over at SEOin2026.com.